Breezy.
Yeah.
Looks like they back for a fifth season, man.
Who that?
Sports Roundtable.
Who?
SRT Crew.
Whoa.
SRT. They got that realness flowing in their DNA. Damn you lame if you ain't tuned to SRT today. HO got that payload when he say so. What you betting on? Don't get mad at me on fantasy. Break up Kyrie LeBron. I be smooth as sports superhero Hancock in the mix. Deal with roll tide forever. Real talk, you know who he gon' pick. See where I be with SRT. Beyond the glass, that G Money. They win it strong. I never lose. 6-man elite. That's J Smooth.
All you other sports radio shows is fake news. Believe it. Turn up your radios, cause it's time for SRT Radio. Yeah.
Breezy.
Yeah.
What up? It's Sports Roundtable, and we're live from our virtual studios, overlooking everywhere, overlooking the digital world. As you can see, I'm your humble host, H.O. from Bankhead with SRT banner. Behind me, representing my main man, the sports superhero. I'm not sure if I think he kind of wanted to be with the Lakers behind her this week, but hey, nevertheless, my main man is in the building. What's up, Han?
What's up, big homie? What's good with you?
Man, all is well, all is well. The first question I have for you is, are the Falcons, Cowboys, and Colorado in the same boat? Very inconsistent. You don't know which team is going to come and play each.
I don't know. I still saw some consistencies with the Falcons, to be honest with you. I think they had a fortunate 2 minutes, to be honest with you. The inconsistency of the Cowboys, without a doubt, is just unreal. It's like two different teams played 2 weeks apart, and either the Cleveland Browns are that bad or that bad on Sunday, 2 Sundays ago, or the Cowboys really aren't. Really, their talent might be a little bit overrated. I know we know that the defense coordinator received all kind of accolades out of the first week that we have to kind of now come back and take with a grain of salt, because they were thoroughly thrashed and manhandled, and he had no answers for it. When the New Orleans Saints can run up and down the field 6 straight possessions and score, it may have been more, but I know it was 6 straight to get touchdowns and not really field goals, but just really annihilate your defense. That was pretty bad. So all that, glowing talk about what Zimmer did the first week, it all went out the window after week 2, after you got, just humiliated at home. So, inconsistency is a good term for the Cowboys right now, or maybe it's just maybe they're not what we really thought they were. Well, not what I thought when I saw them on that initial Sunday.
Yeah, I agree. So my last question is this before we jump into the hot news is, why is it that every time you criticize or you authentically state what you feel about your team, that you got to be hating on?
Well, I mean, people can't.
Like you,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
You would always say, look, I don't care nothing about them signing Dak. I don't care nothing about them doing this and doing that. Mike McCarthy is still the head coach, so I really don't trust that. But at the same time, you would say, I hope that they can get it together. But in the back of your mind, and you understand, based on history, you understand how this could go. And you stay in what you feel, and you have the right to feel that way because this is your team, and you have the right to know and feel the way that you feel. But at the same time, somebody from Cowboy land can say, well, dang, why you got to be hating on the Cowboys?
Well, to me, it's about foundation. Everything that you build, you better have a sturdy foundation. If you building it on a weak foundation, your house, no matter how pretty it is, how well it's formed on top, it's going to collapse because it's sitting on something that's not solid. And I feel like there are a lot of houses out here, if you want to call it for a better, lack of a better term, that the foundations are kind of weak. And when we really peel back layers of the Cowboys, I think that some of the erosion comes from, and it's funny to say this, but from the top, which is the foundation of their team, which where it comes from what Jerry has done over the years and how they've made some decisions coach wise that have not solidified things because they don't give the coach and people a chance to solidly build and have a playing personality or whatever you want to call it as a team. They don't have that structure because Jerry wants to run everything. He's hands on, in your face, always talking and whatever. And being a Cowboy fan, you got to put up with that because that's part of his brand. He wants the biggest, the shiniest object, and that's fine. But I think we've lost a lot of substance in that foundation. And when you talk about the Falcons, I said this, since day one. I'm pulling for the brother, and I want him to succeed, but I don't think that they started this whole process off in the correct way. I keep telling you, I'm not going to use my glowing term about them this week, but I'm just going to say that they're very fortunate, and I use the term blessed when we talk about it, that
You did.
Philly, yeah, that Philly gave them this game this week
They
because
gave him a
I
lifeline.
promise you, yeah, they gave a lifeline, and Ryan Clark said that he saved their season because I think it was on the way to being a catastrophe because this whole week would have been we paid all this money for this quarterback and he can't lead us because yeah, he had that final drive. I mean, but God, they didn't put any pressure on him. He saw nothing, but you had to give him credit because he went down the field, and that's all you can ask is that they went in, they scored. Philly looked like they were scared to pressure him. They kept rushing with four and got no pressure. But this is not to berate, Kurt. I'm not even talking about him. I'm just saying that this whole organization would have been getting just killed all week. And I promise you, there were already tweets lined up, ready to be fired had that clock struck zero with Philly ahead because
Oh,
they should have won the game. Now, I mean, just to be real, you run the football in that situation. Yeah, it was a great call. It was there. But what happened was you didn't execute it. And when you don't execute and you come up short, it don't matter about how pretty it was and how clean the look was and all that. The bottom line was Philly didn't execute down the stretch, and it ended up costing them the game. They had the game won. Run
yeah,
the football. And in the past, at what was it, Howard? It was 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4,
3rd and 3.
3rd and 3. What is that normal for Philly? That's two uh, uh, butt pushes or whatever you call it. That's what you lined up and push him forward. That's just two times. Just push the ball forward two times. It's first down, game over. But they
Yeah,
got cute. They got away from what they do, which
yeah,
is put it in the hands of that offensive line and go get it. And they had success early in the year. I didn't think that what they were doing was working as well. But the tush push against the Falcons looked like it was back to midseason form of last year. And I
yeah.
was just surprised they just didn't line up and do it two times. You lose with your best thing, and I just thought they didn't do it. But kudos to the Falcons for capitalizing. Now, don't get me wrong, they capitalized on a mistake, and that's what you want to do.
Yeah, no
But
doubt.
Philly
No,
should have ended that game.
yeah. All right, let me get to some of the comments. Got to say what's up to the tenants. Got Marty, Monique is in here. Dez as always. They are in the chat and they giving us what's going on. So say what's up to Cuz. What's up, Marty?
What's
And he
up,
also
Cuz?
had this to say about the Cowboys and your Jared Jones. As we talked, Jared Jones had something to say today as well. So, but we'll get
It's just like when Trump was in the White House. We ain't nothing we can do about it. And that's the thing. That's what being a Cowboy fan is all about. I can sit here and I can bellyache all I want, but when it all boils down, that man paid all that money for that franchise. He gonna do what he want to do, and ain't nothing I can do about it.
yeah,
I can keep rooting for him or get out the way.
yeah,
I've been on that train too long. to fall off. So that's the only bad part about it. But you're right, Marty. I can't nothing I can do about it. It's just like they gave Dak that money. Ain't nothing I can do about it.
I dare say he don't disagree, but the Falcons gave away some games, and he ain't mad at somebody to go return the favor.
Oh yeah, yeah. What was my last point? The Falcons capitalized on
Capitalize.
that blunder, and
Yeah.
they did what they needed to do. So kudos
And
to them. I give them credit for that because they could have blown that, but
now,
they went down the field and they caught. They did what they had to do.
I will say this. I will say this. There are some things that look different this week than they did last week, especially the right guard McGarry. They done nicknamed him Coleslaw because
Hmm.
they call him Coleslaw because that's the size that nobody wants.
Right.
But
Well,
but
I want to see like you said, they did a great job against Philly, who could not pressure the quarterback. And they tried to get it with four. This week they're going to be pressured with one of the best defensive linemen in the game.
no doubt.
And so let's see what happens. No doubt about the pressure that he's going to bring, the talented cornerbacks, the speed they have at linebacker. So it'll be a great test
Yeah,
for
for
to
sure.
see if they can build off the momentum of what they had this past week. Like I said, again, kudos to the Falcons for capitalizing. But you know how it is. Every week there's a different task. So
Yeah.
let's see what happens this week. Just like my Cowboys, we got to see what we got to do this week.
All right, before we get into the hot news, I keep saying this, but who talks the most, Jerry Jones or Deion Sanders? Or you
Oh
gonna call it
man.
an even tie?
Well,
Or should I
I don't
say,
know.
who are you tired of hearing talk? Jerry Jones or Deion Sanders?
It's about neck and neck on both of them for me, and that's bad because again, I'm a primetime fan, but I just feel like sometimes you just need to let sleeping dogs lie. Don't talk about it. Be above the fray. And you know me, Howard. I'm one of the most flamboyant, flashy lover. I love the flash and if you can back it up and all that. But I think it's starting to be a little tiring. Again, like I said, with Prime and things that are going on with Colorado, you had
Yeah,
a big win that I didn't think they were going to be able to do. To be honest with you, I thought they
yeah,
might eke it out.
he killed all our sheets. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, I thought they might eke it out, but early in the game, I thought the whole game would go like the first quarter, where Colorado was in their face and looked like at the beginning that it was going to be a well fought game. But to Colorado's credit, the stars took over. Shador, Travis Hunter, they are head and shoulders two of the best players in college football, and they were able to elevate that team and get that win. So again, kudos to them for winning. I just wish that
They'll
they would.
be damn quiet. They just
Yeah,
be
I can't say just be quiet. I don't want to say that because it does sound like shut up and dribble, and I don't want to do that. But it's just, man, I know, I think it's more of me just knowing that the powers that be in the masses are just waiting to kill the program, and I
or you
just don't want that. I
or you
just
can
don't want them to face all that.
or you can say, like you had said earlier, everything ain't got to be stated. You can just let the play on the field speak for itself. Let the talent
Exactly.
or whatever, however you want to say it. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into some hot news. And the hot news is sponsored by good old friends Big Easy Grill, 1193 Collier Road, Atlanta, Georgia. Big Easy Grill, the best Louisiana seafood in town. Take 2 bites to get rid of 1 shrimp. The crab claws are on point. The voodoo wings and the shrimp po' boy is one of the best attractions at Big Easy Grill. Go ahead and get on the Big Easy Grill, 1193 Collier Road. You can mention SRT or Sports Roundtable. Get you 10% off any meals, $25 or more. All right, and hot news. We got a new #1 team in college football per the rankings this week that came out. How are you feeling about the new #1 team? We talked about it last week. I think we talked about it. We mentioned it. We had some talk about how they have been playing, and Texas has come to the SEC and looked like they hadn't lost the beat. Looked like we thought maybe they would have some bumpy roads going into a new conference or going to the conference that's right below the NFL, and they had missed the beat. And that Arch Man is showing that he can probably try out for the track team in 2028.
Yeah, I think you just hit the nail on the head. When you look at teams that are formidable or have a chance to win, you want to understand the depth because depth plays a part in it. And for them being Texas to lose their starting quarterback and really not lose a step in this game kind of speaks volumes to how good they are. Let's just take for instance, had this been Alabama and they lost Jalen Milrow, I don't think they would have been able to be as dominant as Texas was the rest of the game.
Right.
This is one of the reasons why I was surprised that Arch Manning stayed around. To at Texas one more year. He's ready to to lead a program right now. You saw that on Saturday. But to his, I don't know whether I said his credit or his dedication to the program or his
His
understanding of his situation.
his morals. His father or his granddad is not going to keep letting him bounce around because they have been. How many times? You mean you were watching football when Arch Manning was in New Orleans and they was horrible,
Yeah,
but
he
but
was
he
he
stayed.
was
He
beat
stayed.
up.
He never tried to get out of there. He never had no. He never wanted to go to another team. He said he would go stick to his roots, and that's how the Manning family do, and that's why they are the first family of
Yeah,
name in football.
yeah. But the only thing about that, it's kind of revisionist history too, because there was really no free agency or freedom of movement as it is now in free agency. So I don't know in this day and time if Archie would have stayed there with New Orleans as bad as they were, he might have tried to get his way out of there. But like you said, he did stay there. I think he moved on to the Oilers late in his career,
Yeah,
and tried to do something, but it was pretty much he was a shot fighter at that time. But yeah, again, back to Arch Manning, I think he showed why he was so highly touted and what he can bring to a team. So I'm really looking forward to the time when he's under center for the full games.
do you think?
Um,
Do you think you will stay hurt now? Do you think they kind of keep him on the sideline, or you think Manning goes back to the backup, or how you think this thing plays out, especially with Georgia?
I Yeah, I think it's still going to be Ewers's team because he was injured and he wasn't playing bad. He was actually playing good. So I do think depending on injury, I don't know who do they have this week. This is Bama week. Is this Bama week?
I have to check the schedule.
Let
I
me
know
see.
Georgia. I think Georgia next week for sure.
Okay, if it's a light week, let's see who they're playing. If it's a light week, I could see them sitting him. If it's the Alabama week and it's not a major injury or something that's going to get progressively worse, I think he's in
Louis-
the starting role.
Louisiana Monroe.
Oh well, he may not play. If he had to come out of the game and it's Louisiana, yeah, you should see. I think you'll see Arch Manning for the full 48 this time, full 60, whatever they play. Uh, I think it's his. I think it's his game this week.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
got Louisiana Monroe,
yeah,
then Mississippi State on the 28th.
yeah. And just depending on how Ewers feels after this week, he'll probably be back in the starting lineup. You know, after this week. That's the way I would see it.
They got Georgia on the 19th.
Yeah.
So they got plenty of time to they got almost a month before the Georgia game.
Hmm.
So they have time to kind of work out because my question would be, how do you if you don't play Manning this week, aren't you kind of pumping the brakes on him, almost like I don't want you to get too good to you want to prevent the controversy kind of deal, or
Yeah.
So
think
you
I
want
don't.
viewers to be back in rhythm, so he can get back in rhythm. So by the time the Georgia game get him, he can be fresh and he can be straight and back in rhythm.
Right, and that's what I mean. I think that's why I think they give him the full week to rest next week, this coming week, and then
Okay.
probably play him against Mississippi State and get it back on. Get his timing back. But
Yeah.
again, like I said, if Arch is if Arch was playing, I think he would be the guy. But I don't think that was in the cards this year. I think that was all set. They know they're going to have one full year of Arch Manning next year, and then he's on to the NFL, I believe. I don't think he'll play after his junior year.
Yeah, I got you. Were you surprised of this year how he's come in and put up numbers in the back of row? Are you surprised at the talent that he actually has, or were you kind of looking for it to all kind of come together once he became a full-time starter?
Yeah, I mean, he was highly touted, and sometimes, depending on where you play, your numbers might be a little skewed, and the name that he carries, you don't know, okay, is it because his name is Manning or is he really that good? But when you look at what he's done, man, his results, they speak volumes. He was 9 of 12 for 223, 75% completions. We had average 18 yards a pass. Then had 3 carries, 53 yards. I mean, we had a long touchdown run of 67.
Yeah,
So I mean, you had to give it up, man, and say just what you've seen out of him. He looks poised in the pocket. So looks like he knows where to go with the football. I mean, I'm pretty sure having a great as your uncle and then access to other quarterbacks. I'm sure just like Shador has access to Tom Brady and things of that nature. What more do you need? I mean, the tutelage that you're going to get with your own family is speaks volumes. So
yeah,
I think we're looking at a star for sure next year, possible Heisman Trophy candidate because the cupboard is going to be full again at Texas. He's going to put up big numbers. So he would definitely be a Heisman candidate next year. And
hmm
the skies is, the ceiling is the roof, as Michael Jordan would say.
yeah, for sure. All right, man. Coach said, "What's up, fellas? He feeling kind of under the weather, so we're gonna put our prayers up for Coach. Drink
Feel
some
better,
hot
coach.
tea. Drink some hot tea. Uh, some put some peppermint in it or something. But drink
There you
some of that
go.
hot tea, and I think you should be good. A hot toddy, or get you some of that. Yeah, get you some of that cognac, Coach. I mean, let's keep it real. Get some of that cognac and pour it down. Um,
You know what they call it? They call it hot toddy,
hot
baby.
toddy, yeah. Han can tell you about that crown apple too.
You
That
know
the
it. You
crown
don't
Georgia.
know? Heat
Yeah,
them
and
up.
I got some of that blackberry over here too. Some of that crown apple blackberry, pretty good.
Yeah. Heat it up. Put some lemon in it. Little honey.
Yeah. All right, and we talked about the Falcon game, and that's the second thing on our board is the Falcon game. Wow. So I would say this. I think we know how the Atlanta Falcons fans are, and I think we are definitely due for somebody to give us a game here, there, whatever the case may be. But at the same time, we have to realize that it was just a piss poor defense that got us the game. I mean, they was in the cover two, a cover two shed with no pressure, and the
Uh,
border was the only thing that you can go to. No, was no pressure. So let's not. I mean, you can get credit to Kurt, but these things are not. This not something that you're going to see each and every week like that because there's nobody that's going to present that kind of defense. They was in the prevent, pretty much. They was in the
yeah.
prevent with no pressure. You rush for it. That's what Vince or Vic Fangio. That's what he does. He don't like the blitz. He don't like to bring pressure, and there was no pressure to be brought. So and yeah, you played quarterback, and Matt Ryan said it on the Manning cast. The easiest way to get in the rhythm is the 2 minute offense. Maybe
Yeah,
they
you're
need to
not
run.
thinking. just reacting. Yep.
Yeah, maybe the 2-minute offense is something that they needed to do, and we saw when Matt Ryan was getting in rhythm. It was a 2-minute offense when Shanahan was in Sarkisian. So
Right.
that looks great when you can do it, but at the same time, let's not be fooled. Let's not be fooled.
Yeah. You have to be careful when you talk about it because you sound like you're not like you're really downplaying what the Falcons did. And well, I'm not saying you. I'm saying you in the proverbial sense. I uh, I don't want to downplay again what I saw out of the Falcons. All I want to say is you have to take it with a grain of salt a little bit, and that
Absolutely.
being that for most of this game, Philly was in control. Falcons did take the lead, but Philly went right down the field, scored, took the lead back, and then had a chance to close it out. But again, every time you say that, this is the NFL, and if you leave professionals time and you don't take them out, you can be beat. And we saw that on Monday night. And again, kudos to the Falcons for capitalizing because we've seen over the years Falcons in this situation not be able to capitalize. How many times have they not come through in a time like this? All right, whether the team can get pressure or not, they haven't succeeded. We look at let's go back and look at Julio Jones' last couple of years when the Falcons, that was a playoff game, I think, against Philly. And
Yeah.
the Falcons had a chance to win that game and weren't able to close that one because they couldn't get the touchdown,
Mm-hmm.
to end the game, to seal the game. So again, this is not a playoff win, not as meaningful or as large a moment, but you have to build. And this was a building moment. It's better to come home from Philly playing maybe a lackluster game with a win rather than coming home 0-2 facing the two-time defending champion in
Exactly.
Kansas City Chiefs. So
Yeah.
hey, you got to feel good going into the game. Kansas City has shown that if you watch what happened with Cincinnati, that they can kind of still be contained. They're still working on trying to get things together. And you can see that, a lot of stuff was made out of having a new fast toys and all that. But Travis Kelsey has not been a factor at all this year. The offense has not clicked. Mahomes has thrown two interceptions that we saw that, were kind of out of character this past week. And Cincinnati
Mm-hmm.
actually had a chance to win. It just
Yeah.
seems like for some reason, all the time, Kansas City comes up with a break. Some pass interference, late hit going out of bounds. Chase, Jamar Chase losing his mind because he did not get a call and costing his team 15 yards rather than it being second and about 7 or second and 4, whatever. He gets a 15-yard penalty, makes it, the down counts, and now it's third and whatever, second and whatever. And I mean, just things continue to happen that break right for you, but you have to be a good team to capitalize on your good fortune, and they do it. So, like I said, they haven't played well. Falcons coming off a big win. Uh, should be a big game, man. Is this a Sunday night game, or what time
Yeah,
does
it's
this game kick off?
a Sunday night game. Collinsworth and Al Michaels. Yeah,
Oh
Sunday night.
man, so that's big, man. This is a big moment.
Yeah,
Do you capitalize or do you go backwards? So,
yeah, that's what I'm
man, this
saying.
this be good.
Listen, we still got red zone issues. Let's be real. I'm just calling it what it is. You still got red. We can't keep bringing Cool out there to kick field goals when you need touchdowns against these
Right.
teams in the NFC. I mean,
Yeah.
New Orleans has showed you that they can put up points, and
Yes, they have.
to your point,
Tampa Bay.
Buster Mayfield could you call him MVP, then?
Hey, right now he going into Sunday, he was looking like a NBA MVP candidate. I think
Okay,
he kind of it was kind of mediocre to average game against Detroit, but hey, I think they came out with a dub, didn't
yeah, they did.
they?
But
Okay,
so
so
you got them two, you
you
got them
beat
two 2-0, and you one and
right.
one. So you
You
can't
won and
afford
one.
need to get.
and
You
could
need to.
have been 0-2. All right, that's the biggest thing. You
Yeah.
very well could have been 0-2. So you are fortunate. Now, how do you build on that fortunate, that great fortune that you got this Monday? That's what we're looking at. You have to build on that because if you don't, man, it's going to be bad.
I agree
And
for
then
sure.
look at we still. I know we're off the Philly game, but think about Philly not kicking the field goal on the first drive. You
Yep.
know, you left 3 points, and I think it was another instance that they didn't kick a field goal or something. But I mean, I do know the first one. I think they left at least 6 points on the field.
Mm-hmm.
And again, to Atlanta's credit, they took advantage of those dumb plays and ended up winning the game. So kudos again to the Falcons.
Yeah, for sure. What's up, Red? Red is in the building. What's going on, Red? And he's a
What's happening,
Falcons fan.
Red?
He say that the Falcons beat the E girls.
Hey, you
All
take
right.
that dub and you keep rolling, man.
All right, so I was gonna talk about the Tyreek Hill spoke out situation, but I'm not. I'm gonna skip that.
Okay.
Let's talk about Bryce Young. He is being
You gonna?
benched.
Oh, you're not gonna talk about Tua?
Yeah, I'm gonna talk about Tua, but I
Oh,
want to
okay. All
up
right.
next.
Okay. Go ahead. My bad.
Yeah, Bryce Young has been benched.
Yeah.
He has been benched, and he had some people has come out and said he could be the biggest bust for a number one pick ever all time.
Wow.
I mean, it has gotten so. I mean, that's why I really wanted D. Will to come and talk about this because this is the situation where people talked about his size, people talked about Kyler Murray's size, but you know, but then but then when people talk about Kyler Murray, they say Kyler Murray, he's not as small as you think he is.
No, Kyler Murray is short. He's not small. It's the
Yeah,
difference. You know,
right.
it's just
Yeah,
like Barry Sanders was short. He wasn't small. If you saw Barry's legs and his physique, you know, it's different. You know, there's a difference. Bryce Young looks like a ninth grader out there. And
mm-hmm.
that's the thing. He just looks so small. But to his credit, he doesn't miss. He hadn't missed a lot of games. The only reason to get him out of lineup is to bench him, and that's what they've done. And I think they've done him a disservice to bench him like that.
Yeah, I
You,
think so.
yeah, honestly, you're saying that he is the issue, but you're not taking into account the number of offensive coordinators, the number of head coaches he's had. He's only been in the league 2 years, but look at how many coaches and everything that have dealt with him. And actually, when you got him, you gave away your number one receiver after you got.
Exactly.
I mean,
Yeah, you gave
look
away
at the
his number
people.
one target.
Look at the people he's throwing to. He has no wide receivers. He has no big time running back. He has nothing. And you're sitting there making him the scapegoat when we've seen, and believe me, I'm not the biggest Shady McCoy fan. I think that some of his takes and some of the things he says are just asinine and crazy. But to his credit, he ran down a list of quarterbacks who have been horrible and have been wretched, have been just ungodly, totally awful quarterbacks that were given 2 to 3 years to try to make that thing work and continue to give it chances. And now, after 2 games, with a whole new coaching staff that he has to get familiar with, you didn't let him play in the preseason, none of that at all. And then you turn around and say, "Well, we done. This experiment is over. We're gonna bench him, and that's it." And you put him out the pasture and the point on it is, why you benching him for Andy Dalton? Andy Dalton is not going to lead this team to the playoffs. This team is not going to go to the playoffs if you would have if you would have dug up dirt, Peyton Manning and brought him out here, or you put Tom Brady in there. They're not going to the playoffs. So bringing in Andy Dalton and benching your supposed future quarterback, or who you thought was your future, not giving him a chance, I think it's asinine. It's a horrible look for the organization. And I hope he gets out of there. And it's a problem. 'Cause he'll probably be somewhere and be a backup for a couple of years to save face. And he'll probably get another shot. But I don't know if he'll get another shot like Baker did, like Sam Darnold did, like they give what's the kid that was in New York? Now he's at I think he at Denver backing up somebody. The one that they all had to wipe their clothes off because he
Yeah.
threw a ball across his body in a drill, and they said it was the greatest throw ever, or whatever. So some of the stuff, man, I just don't think that they give certain quarterbacks of a certain persuasion the benefit of the doubt like they do others. So honestly,
Uh,
I'm just going to call it like it is, and you can see it. I think this was horrible that they did this kid this way.
yeah. Jamarcus Russell, dad say Jamarcus, as long as Jamarcus Russell's still out there, it'll never beat that.
Yeah, I can't argue with that. Jamarcus Russell, and even though he wasn't a number one, I think he was a number two
Yeah.
uh, for the Chargers. What was his name?
Ryan Leaf.
Brian Leaf, one of the worst quarterbacks. What was the other dude that came out of USC who was a robo quarterback for the Raiders that daddy wouldn't let him eat a McDonald's cheeseburger?
Marinovich.
Marinovich, yeah, those type of people. So it's been some horrible first rounders. I
Yeah.
don't know if all of them were number ones, but let's just be real. Just because, want to say about this dude, because the organization, he has had some bad moments. Don't get me wrong, he's looked bad. But you haven't
All
put
right.
anything around this kid, man.
So
You
let me
haven't put
ask you this:
anything around.
is this organizational failure, or is this a Bryce Young failure at this
Yeah,
point?
I'm still going organization, man. This is playing quarterback in the NFL is one of the most difficult positions that you will ever play in sports. You have to know everybody's assignment on every play. You got to know what this means when that safety drops out. You got to know, be able to read cover two versus splits, knowing when that safety is going to come, when he's not. When it's going to be a blitz from either side. You got to identify stuff. I mean, it's a hard job, but you didn't put anything in place, any tools to help this guy.
Yeah.
So I blame the organization more than anything.
And
Yeah,
we
he
got
does. He has some culpability. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah.
let's just be real. He wasn't. He was not given a fair shot.
Well, let me just say this: we got a Mia Culpa coming up, man. We got old Marky
Okay.
saying that he won't Buster Mayfield back.
Yeah, he tells me that every day at work.
Yeah,
But
man.
that's the thing about it. I mean, Buster Mayfield was given enough chances. And think about it. Mayfield was at Carolina, and they didn't do much better with him at quarterback. See, that's the thing about it. So now he's going to an organization where he's got better talent around him, he's got better coaching, he got a playing personality and a defense, and he's thriving. So the thing about not Bryce is probably in the same boat as Blake was. I mean, as Buster Mayfield and Donald. Donald was at Carolina, and neither one of them succeeded. But now there are stops where there's an offensive coordinator, offensive playing personality, offensive weapons, and they're succeeding. So what's to say that if Bryce Young doesn't, if he gets to the right situation? We've seen the talent. He didn't leave Alabama and not be able to throw the football. We've seen
Yeah.
the throws he's made. With talent around him or whatever. So, I just don't think that I hope his confidence isn't just totally thrown away now because of what they've done to him. But I hope he gets a chance somewhere else.
Well, let me ask you this then. To your point, they didn't put anything around him. Can you imagine Carolina drafting Cam Newton and trading Steve Smith within the same year?
Yeah. They did what they got rid of Steve, a year after or so? But yeah, you're right. Steve Smith was his go-to weapon when he came up. Right. He had his
Exactly.
guy that he
Yeah.
threw the ball to all the time. So you're right. You
Exactly.
have to have somebody. But this dude don't have nobody. You got an aging wide receiver and you got a rookie who's just learning in the NFL. They don't have anything. I bet you can't even name who their tight end is.
Yeah.
I bet you people have to take 2 or 3 times to name the running backs that he's handing off to.
Yeah.
There's nothing there with him.
Nothing there. I agree. They didn't put that. They didn't think this out too well. I've heard some chatter that David Tepper could possibly be now the worst owner in the NFL right now.
Yeah, well, if they call him Roll, it don't take long to get to his name.
Yeah, there it is. All right, coach said organizational failure, 3 coaches in 18 games. Yeah, I would agree.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, come on, man. Let's be real. Yeah, he's setting him up for failure, man. And it's just bad. It's real bad. They set that kid up for failure, man.
That's terrible. All right, now that moves us to our next topic. Mr. Tua Tagovailoa.
Yeah.
He got another concussion hand, and now they talking about could he possibly retire now and all this other kind of stuff. And now they saying, why did you even pay him if you knew that he had the history of concussions? So
Well, I think you had to pay him because of the year that he had, coming off a great year. You built this offense for him. It's a get the ball out quick type offense. He got speedy wide receivers. He got speedy running backs behind. Everything is built on speed in this whole organization. And he's very accurate. So slants, passes down the seam and everything. He gets the ball out. So everything was built for him. The head coach, offensive guru, had everything in line for him. So I think you had to pay him because everything was lined up for him and built for him. The issue is that they didn't know he was going to be trying to be a gang member, throwing gang signs every time he get hit upside the head, and that's the issue. He just can't. You cannot. You just can't keep getting hit in the head when it seems like you ain't paying the power bill and they're cutting the lights out every time. Every time he get touched in the helmet, man, the lights go out. I just don't. It's time, man. You gotta be real about it. I'm making jokes, but Horace, it's a serious situation that this wasn't a violent, vicious hit, and he went out, man. It was so bad. His ankle turned in. I've never seen anybody throw a gang sign with his foot, and his foot turned in like his hand. I mean, it was ridiculous. And it's scary.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, he was limping, and he wasn't nothing wrong with his leg. If you watch, he was unstable walking out the field because his extremities weren't working. And I'm like, man, you cannot continue to play. It's just sometimes it's time. You gotta let it go, man. Because it could go to a point where he might not wake up, man.
What would be your advice? I mean, there are some people that he can talk to, like a Steve Young.
I was showing him. I ain't got to talk. Show him the film, Howard. Look, man, this is what happened to you. You might not remember, but every time you fall down and you bump your head, this is what happens to you, and that something is wrong. If you can't see that now. To be honest with you, the person that tackled him, they should ride off together and shouldn't have played again. I don't know why he on the field. I'm sorry. He died on the field twice. Ain't no way in the world to me he should be playing. So but these are my thoughts. My thoughts, and my opinions. And they don't have to listen to them because they're not. They don't have to. But I just think it comes a time because honestly, Harsh, all kidding aside, the body is not meant to play football. It's not. Your body is not designed. If it was meant to play football, you wouldn't be having as many pads and hard shell helmets and everything, all the pads that you wear and braces on linemen's knees to keep them from going different directions. That lets you know right there that you should not. This game is really not for the human body. It's not. It's not designed. We are not built to line up and run as fast as we can into another human with our heads and our shoulders or whatever. We just not really designed to play that. You're not. Your body is not designed to do that and take that punishment. It's a car
Right.
wreck constantly. And let me ask you this: when you are in a car wreck and you have to go about your back, they'll put you on workers' comp and put you on light duty, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you get hit and you get a back injury or whatever, they give you some Vicodin and shoot you up and say, let's go back to work and go crash into some again. Does that make any sense?
Nah, it don't make sense.
At all. It don't make no sense at all. The body is not meant to play football. I love it dearly. I watch it religiously. I bet on it constantly. But just being real, it is not meant for the human body. And the people can say what they want. They say, heck, are you soft? Sorry, I'm just telling the truth. I love to watch it, but we not designed as humans to play that.
So not only would you tell Tua he need to go ahead and hang it up, but you also tell Damar Hamlin that he needs to do it too.
There's no way I thought he would ever play football, meaningful football again. And he's a starting safety in the NFL after we saw on national TV him actually, not knowing it then, but from reports, really die twice on the field.
Right.
I never thought he would play again like this. And he's playing meaningful snaps.
Yeah.
The starting safety.
Yes, he is. And
Yeah, so yeah, I mean,
Marlon said the Dolphins are looking for out in that contract, and I'm pretty sure they
yeah,
are.
I would, yeah, I think they got to find a way to tell, come up with something as to why he can't play. At least I don't think he should at least play another this year for sure. I don't think he should play again. But if I'm the Dolphins, I mean, it's a lot of money. I'm sure it's something in the contract to where they get some kind of relief or compensation for him being medically unable to play. Maybe that's the place Bryce Young ends up, Horace. How about that? Because we know how accurate Bryce is.
Right.
So maybe he ends up with the Dolphins. I mean, he'll come in, he can get rid of the ball, hit his foot. Maybe that's the spot.
Maybe that is.
Because maybe that's the spot.
That very well could be the spot. My question would be this then: how should I feel about the Tua situation? I got Jordan Love in my fantasy league, and I got Tua, and both of them hurt. Should
Yeah.
I selfishly think that I don't want Tua to walk away, or it's just? I mean, it's not even. No, it's
I
not even.
understand.
It's not
I
even
mean,
close.
yeah, I feel what you're saying, but I know you do. I know your heart. I know you don't want that dude to die. So I
Yeah,
know what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, if you find another quarterback, man, you don't wish nothing bad on the dude. But
yeah.
he comes back. If he comes back, that's still your quarterback.
Yeah, I need to reach out to Slick. He say he got like 3 of them, so I need to reach
But
out
I
to him.
got, I got, I got Jared Goff. He'll available if you need him now.
Yeah, for sure. Marlon said, Shannon Sharp said it best. Line up 10 yards away from your garage door and run into it full speed 60 times a day.
Exactly. And you tell me how you feel.
That's
That's my point right there. That's exactly my point. We are not designed to do that to play the game, man. You're just not.
no, cause they didn't fire Shannon Sharp. No, Cole asked him the ESPN. No, he didn't.
Okay.
No, no. I know you
No,
trying to
I hadn't
figure.
heard that either. Yeah,
Nah,
I
they
hadn't heard
did.
he's fired.
Nah. He probably got a sponsorship out of that situation though. He probably got a sponsorship out of there. Probably got some yeah, because he was advertised big time for the roast sparks or whatever they call it. I don't really
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, back to this tour situation, man. It's like okay, cool. So you want to make because it when he married, got 2 kids and something like that. So yeah, you want to be able to ride out to the sunset at least teach your kids and go to little league games with with all of your faculty,
Faculties.
faculties
Yeah.
and and thoughts or whatever, so you can show and teach and all this other kind of stuff. So yeah, and could this push toward some guaranteed contracts coming up in the future? Could this situation push towards that, or am I barking up?
Maybe I don't know. In this instance, it might work against him because Tua's most of his money was guaranteed, and now if you're guaranteed and you don't have a relief, you got a lot of money tied up into a guy that probably might not be able to play for you. And if they don't give him relief, you can't use his money in your salary cap. So that's a difficult situation. But like I said, I don't know if there's a medical out. And I think, like you said, like someone mentioned before, the Dolphins are probably looking for some way to get out. So there may be something in the contract that states if you're medically unable to
Perform.
participate,
Yeah,
yeah, you get a relief from the contract.
yeah. It's
That
not.
the
It's
team
not
gets
like
relief.
the Washington contract set up where if he got into more trouble, they can void it.
They can void it. Right,
Yeah,
right. So I'm sure they're looking for some kind of way to get some medical relief, and depending on how much that is or how it works, maybe we've seen it the last or two at least in the Dolphin uniform. Who knows? You
could
know.
be. Yeah, Marlon said 200 million is nothing if you ain't around to enjoy it. All right.
Right, exactly. Yeah. Might be something for somebody who's related to you. You got a new wife, so
Yeah,
you know.
I agree. Or the kids can enjoy it.
Right.
That's for sure. All right, man. Well, I was gonna skip the Tyreek Hill talk, but we'll jump into it and see what you thought. Think at least he spoke out and said that if he had to do it all over again, he would do some things a little different. That's from
Yeah.
his mouth to the microphone. That's not me saying it. That's what he said. And
Well,
I'm not
and,
sure.
and
I'm not sure if that would have changed the course of action or what actually happened, but he said he would do something different. But he
yeah,
also
and
said well that he would like for everybody to take accountability, not just him.
right. And that's the thing about it. I mean, if you aren't willing to change, because nobody's perfect, big homie. So sometimes you have to kind of take a step back and look at it. And he probably listened to somebody who he respects and trusts, and they told him something that resonated with him, like, "Hey, man, you could have done this a different way." And at the time, he probably looks at it now and says, "Yeah, I probably could have handled it, a different way and done something different." And I think that's growth and that's maturity that we kind of we get as we get older. Certain people can say certain things to us and it resonates and we look at it differently. And then certain other people might say, we're just going to always balk against it, and not back down. But
Yeah,
I think that he probably was talked to and looked at it and said, in the best interest of everything, yeah, it's best for me to say that. Now, I do not condone or say that this should have escalated to the point of a physical altercation over a damn speeding ticket. I
right.
think that was utterly crazy. I hate that we even have to acquiesce and say, yeah, well, we have to handle it different because we know what we face. Well, it's not right that we have to face that. That should be the conversation as to why you're sitting up here saying, for everybody who says he handled it wrong, the next thing out their mouth is like, what's gonna happen to you if you talk to the police like that. And I'm like, but there again, that's part of the problem. Or
Mhm.
that's part of the problem is that I got to be on my utmost step and fetch it, yes, the boss, in order not to get toe up. You
Exactly.
understand what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's the issue. Is that you can. This is my point. You can go down countless videos. There's one that's a popular one online right now where this old white guy cussed the cop out, talking about I ain't got to do you in front of my house and all this, and no nothing happened. But
Right.
then you talk about it and say, well, you can't talk to a cop that way. Well, why can he? You know what I mean? I mean, it's crazy. It's just I'm not condoning that you should be able to talk to a cop that way. But my point on it is you shouldn't have to worry about being beat and handcuffed because there's a disagreement about the traffic stop. That's what I'm saying. It's just it went utterly way out of line, and
It
that's
did.
that's the only point I'm saying. That's my point is that it should not have come to that, and then I gotta listen. No, I don't have to listen, but I hear. Well, you're a black man in America. Yeah, I know it. That's why Kaepernick took the knee. But that's a problem. Because when you say that, it's like, well, what we face. And I'm like, okay, so you saying you know what we face. But again, you say, well, he should just be quiet because he know what he faced. Yeah, okay, whatever.
But
I'm not
hey,
gonna keep arguing the point.
you know what I've heard? That's the way
How
of the
was
world.
that?
That's the way of the
Right.
world.
That's the way of the world.
So it's like saying, shut up and dribble, shut up and be black, and let it be. But
Yeah.
if it's but my question is though, is to this point, and I don't want to keep harping on it, but since we're gonna talk about it. If you are a trained cop, you are trained to de-escalate, and you're in the
Right.
profession of de-escalating situations and not making them heighten, right?
Right.
Tyreek Hill is trained to catch footballs and score touchdowns. That's his
Right.
job. But if you are trained to be the bigger person in any kind of situation and to de-escalate it, then why aren't you held to that accountability when things go up or when things are escalated? Why aren't you held more accountable for that reason? Because that's just like saying if the number one pastor in the world go to the strip club, you don't think he gonna face consequences and talk behind that
Oh, without a doubt.
because he's held to a higher standard, right?
Right.
So I mean, but we're quick to say that's just the way of the world, so we got to deal with it.
Yeah.
I'm just
And
like,
I agree. That's my point. It's like you're sitting here on one hand telling me he shouldn't have talked to the police, but your next thing is because you know what's gonna happen to him. And it's okay, but that's okay that happened to him. But you don't. You say he shouldn't have talked, but that's okay that he got beat down for speeding.
yeah,
That's crazy. And then
I,
letting his window back up, which is okay, whatever.
every
You know,
speeding ticket I've gotten, my window was rolled up, waiting on him to bring me
yeah,
the ticket back so I can sign
right,
it and be gone about my business. So I don't understand.
right. And the only thing that I do, okay, I give you this, and I give cops this leeway and this latitude because I have cousins that were cops, and people that I know that are cops. When they walk up to a vehicle and it's heavily tinted, they don't know what's in that car. But the only problem I have with this stop is that you ran the plates and you're at the Dolphins facility where they play. You know that's Tyreek Hill in that car. You understand what I'm saying? It's
Mhm.
not like it's a situation where you think that this is a drug dealer or whatever. You know that's Tyreek. They've already told one cop said it's Tyreek, but you still let this escalate to the point where he's jerked out of the car, pushed to the ground, knee in his back, and handcuffed. You know, I just think it was excessive. And it's just the way I see it. People don't have to agree with me, and I understand. I respect their points, but my point on it is, I just thought this was excessive, truly excessive.
I agree. Now, I will say this to your point about the cops don't know what's in the car. I agree with that. But when has there been any kind of history that we've had windows rolled down that's heavily tinted and something happened to the cop because they didn't know anything was in, they didn't know what was inside of the car? But
Yeah,
we've had history of black guys complying, quote unquote, and still not making it home. We got that
yeah,
history. We got facts
yeah. We
about
definitely
that.
got that. Yes, no doubt.
So a cop can use I don't know what's in the car as an excuse, but based on what? Based on what? What are you basing it on?
Yeah,
Because
I
I to this day, I don't know of any situation where a window was rolled down, you didn't know what was in it, and the cop did not make it home. I don't know of one. So,
mm,
we can make excuses all day, and it seems that we have to go along with excuses just to make it be what they say, I guess that's the way of the world. That's the world that we live in. And I'm like, man, when is that going to stop? When is the way of the world that we live in is going to, now I feel like the Falcons. When is it going to be that instead of the Falcons blowing the game, when is somebody going to give us a game like they just did Monday?
yeah.
So it's crazy.
There
All right,
you,
man.
well, go ahead. We
Yeah,
go.
that's all. That's all it is for the hot news, man. We gonna move on off that subject and we go jump into something else that's gonna be a little more positive. I should say. All right. With that being said, baller buses and bus stop. Go ahead and drop your ballers and buses and bus stop in the chat so we can go ahead and read them out. And Han, you got some. They say you're a comedian out there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, they put it on the screen there. Yeah. Yeah, and I agree with Marlon. Cops, they train for this. They train for every situation. But, you know, I don't know if, again, let's go to the baller buses and bus stop. Go ahead and put your ballers and buses and bus stop in the chat so we can go ahead and read them out. And I'll go first. My
Go
baller
ahead.
this, my baller this week goes out to Mr. Arch Manning for all of the hype, all of the anticipation, all of the name dropping, just the name itself, for him to continue to not say a word, not transfer, and to stay committed and dedicated to the task in hand, to come off the bench and to stay ready and to perform the way he has performed, he gets my baller this week. I mean, I'm not sure if anybody can live up to the pressure of being a Manning and the pressure of being a quarterback in the SEC, a backup quarterback at that in the SEC. But to stay ready like he stayed and to perform and do his due diligence, he is my baller for this week.
Yeah, I don't argue with you at all. I kind of went over his stats early, and I agree wholeheartedly. Actually, he was my baller also, but I did have one in the chamber that was going to be my backup. I didn't, we didn't talk about who each other's baller was going to be. But my baller, I'm going to go with Travis Hunter. And this dude, man, is doing stuff that, we've talked about it before as to where or why he's considered a two-way player that we haven't seen or nothing like this. But the things that he puts up, the numbers he keeps putting up, on offense, he had 13 receptions for 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. Um, he also had a chase down tackle to save a touchdown after he came from the other side.
They don't go into the stats, it don't show up on the stat
Yeah,
machine.
don't show up on the stat machine or on the book, but you best believe when you watch it, you're like, that's impressive. Then he intercepted a pass and brought it back 38 yards.
Yeah.
How many tackles did he have? I'm trying to see his tackles for the game. Travis. There it is. 5 tackles, 2 solo tackles. Didn't have any sacks, but like I said, had interception and a return. So the things that he does, you know, routinely. That's the thing about it. You're looking now when he does something, it's like, oh, that's Travis Hunter. But if somebody else was doing this, it would be all over Sports Center constantly. But he does it every week, every game. You see something that you say, man, that dude is just unreal. But it's just another day at the office. So he gets my baller, man. Travis Hunter, a true two-way player that we haven't seen. Just being honest, we haven't seen a two-way player like this.
Could is he if he does not go to New York at the end of the season, would that be the biggest disrespect of the season?
It's a travesty if he doesn't go to New York. Uh, they need to go ahead and book his ticket right now to go. We haven't seen anybody in the modern era. I'm pretty sure there's probably been back in old black and white films where they played both ways and played more plays and all that. But ever since color TV was involved, we haven't seen anything like this yet. This dude is sick, man. So yeah,
Yeah.
Travis Hunter, man, he my ball.
All right. We got some online. Marlon said that the Colorado offensive line is stepping up and playing better. Uh, you get to do a time, he go eat you up.
Yeah,
You get to
no
do a
doubt.
time, he go eat you up for sure. All right, Ham, I'm gonna let you answer cause his baller. I think you said
Okay, well,
she was your baller last week, but I'm gonna let you answer that.
best player in the NBA, my ball is A'ja Wilson. A'ja Wilson right now is unreal, unbelievable, man. She plays it on both ends. She's up there in blocks and rebounds, defensive rebounds. She's about to set a scoring mark for the WNBA
They already
for
did.
the most points. Yeah, she did set the scoring mark all time
Mhm.
for a season. Everything that you want to state about her, the fierce competitive nature that she plays with aggressively, and I mean, right now she's the best woman basketball player on the planet, bar none. And by none. She's that good. So because she is a baller and she's balled the whole season. She should have gotten MVP last year. They gave it to Stewie. I don't think Stewie deserved it over her last year, and she definitely won't get it this year over. So not to say Stewie isn't great, but I think A'ja Wilson should have been MVP last year, and she's definitely going to be MVP this year.
Yeah, they go 3-peat.
Not sure about that, man. To me, the strongest team right now in the WNBA is the New York Liberty, but Minnesota is right there. See, there's some teams out there that play defense. They got length and they got bodies to throw. This year, Vegas seems to be a little more top heavy than last year. When they go to the bench, they lose a little bit, so their starters have to carry a lot of weight. But these other squads I'm talking about, they have players that the level of play doesn't drop off. They play physical basketball constantly, and I think that wears Vegas down in some games. And you'll see that when they play the Connecticut's, when they play even Seattle. When Seattle's at full strength, they're formidable. So teams you'll see Seattle, Vegas will be in the mix, Minnesota's in the mix. New York is to me the top squad right now. And I don't think there's a dark horse, but I do say this: that first round of the WNBA is so crucial, and you have to watch it because when you see the teams like Indiana can be a problem for a team that's really not disciplined and able to impose their game on. If you lose and you have to go. If Indiana wins the game, their first game on the road, you have to go back to Indiana. You're probably gonna get put out because the first round is a three best of three series, and they're gonna be on the road for the first one. But if they eke out that road win, they're gonna move on to that second round, I believe, because they're gonna win at home. They play well at home. They're young. They can shoot it. Uh, that Mitchell, Kelsey Mitchell, is a walking bucket. She gonna get you. She can go for 28 in the night. She can shoot it. And definitely, we've seen Caitlin just take over games. And right now, she's scoring along with her, running the squad. They got enough size in the interior to kind of at least offset some of the bigger people, and they got a decent bench. So, like I said, they're gonna. I don't think they'll make a full run, but I can see them getting to the second round. So those are the teams you really got to watch.
All right, time for the busters. I think we can all agree that the busters, there are plenty of busters this week. I'm Hancock. I'm either go with your Florida State Seminoles, and I'm pretty sure
Go
you
ahead,
probably
big home.
I'm pretty sure you go get in the car with me.
Yeah,
Mike
I'm with you.
Norvell, Mike Norvell should have probably stayed in Memphis because they went up against his former team and they got blasted. And that's one of the bright spots that we had on our football sheet that we had Memphis. It was overwhelmingly the pick of the week.
Right.
And I don't know. I told you on the phone. I don't know how Florida State is even favored. I
Nah,
couldn't.
I
I
don't
couldn't.
need. I We both agreed. I didn't understand it. I just thought that was a free square they were giving big home. Yeah, that was like I was like, you can't be serious. So I couldn't wait to punch a hole in that one.
Yeah, exactly. Uh, Marlon said it best: 1.3 million to lose to Memphis. Yeah,
That
they
was
should be.
horrible.
They should take it out of his check then, right?
Look, man, well, whoever decided to get DJU down there, they should take it out of their check. Yeah, that's a bad look right there. I don't think he finishes the season at Florida State. I think they got to they'll bench him and then he'll withdraw. He gonna be gone. But
Yeah, I agree.
that's a good bust. Yeah, my busted big homie is the Colorado State quarterback, and let me get his name right. Braden Fowler Nicolosi.
Oh, go
Um,
ahead now. Look at you
yeah,
pronouncing his name. Go ahead now.
that's him. Now, leading up in the preseason, all of the game, talked all that stuff about, you out here, and talk really aimed at Shador, and talked about all the off the field, the money and all the bragging and all they do, and everything that comes along with Florida, with Colorado, and then you get on the field and you pretty much stink it up, and Colorado whoops your butt.
Mm.
And then at the end of the game, you want to go and talk to Shador. And when Shador plays you and says, nah, homie, you talked all that noise, I ain't not shaking your hand. And the media needs to back off because Shador, I thought, handled it better. He just said, no, you're not like that, really. You talked all that, but you're really not like that. You can't see me. It is what it is. But you talked all this noise. So anyway, he gets my buster for running his mouth and then not being able to back it up. If you gonna run your mouth, you better be able to back it up and hold up your own. But he didn't do anything to hold his own. So again, Braden Fowler Nicolosi, you are my buster for the week.
There it is. Cuz said his buster is the Georgia Kentucky game. But who get the buster though?
Who get the buster? Yeah, 'cause
Who
it
get the
shouldn't be
buster?
Kentucky.
He said both of them.
Ooh, okay. All right, cuz. I'd like to know the reason behind Kentucky. They should, by
Yeah,
rights, probably should
yeah,
have been on the field.
yeah. He said why Kentucky get a buster when they shouldn't even been on the field. You playing against the number one team in the nation, and you well he asking why does Kentucky get a buster though? He said because they should have beat Georgia.
Okay.
All right. Well.
All
All right.
right.
So Marlon says Shadur asked him to his face about their smoke, and he
Right.
bagged and didn't do nothing.
You back down. Yeah.
Which,
You don't want
which
nothing.
brings me to my boy stop, and boy, you go love this one. I finally got him. I've been avoiding this buster for so long, and he skipped the buster. He goes straight to the boy stop, and that's Jason Whitlock.
Okay.
Jason Whitlock is emphasizing Shadur Sanders and Deion Sanders for what Shadur did by not shaking his hand. He is just all aboard with why are you raising your kids like this and this and that and why just going all in on Shadur and Deion about what Shadur Sanders did at the end of the game. And I'm like, but then he gives credit to the Colorado State quarterback for having the guts to face
Right.
Shadur at the end of the game to
Right.
go over there and
Right.
still shake his hand. I mean, I don't. Jason Whitlock,
You
you are
you know what it is. Yeah, big homie. Some people do stuff for clicks, man. And he can't be. I know he probably hate being black because that's what he act like. I think he just hates being a black man. And he acts like it even if he doesn't. He seems to hate. He has a self-hating disposition about any black issue. And I'm not here to say that every black man or every issue that a black man has, that they're right in. But it can't be that every black issue that comes out is the black man's fault either. That's the problem. That's the problem I got. It's got to be something that's pro-black in some situations, but it's all about clicks. And this goes to my point on the people that they roll out that they have sitting on the shelf waiting for anything that's race related or anything that might be some kind of negative race issue. They got them sitting on the bookshelf, whether it's Charles Barkley, whether it's Jason Whitlock, and even your big homer, and not being facetious, SAS, they
yeah,
go roll them out
yeah.
to accentuate their point or to try to make look. See, even this guy says that the black person was wrong. It just happens constantly, man, to validate the point. They're like the human validators. That's what they are. Let's go get the human validator. And it's like, what level we gonna go to? We're going to this guy who's at this level. We're going to DEFCON 3. Where we going? So it just happens, man. Now it just pisses me off that they continue to use these people to hammer those points across that they can't let a white person talk about. You see what I'm saying? So if they bring a white person in to come and talk about a black issue, it won't have the weight. But
Right.
if they bring in these type of people, they can say, "See, even your guy, one of you kind of guy, one of the darkies, he's saying it. One of the darkies is saying, it," you know." So I mean, it's sickening, man.
Yeah, and even Shaq got caught in that a couple of times, and I'm like, bro, come
Yeah,
on.
yeah, it's ridiculous, man.
Yeah, I agree. Super ridiculous. Anybody else got any boy stops out there? Let me know before we move on. Going once, going twice. All right, it is now time for us to turn the page as we are moving here right along to our round table discussion. A roundtable discussion is sponsored by our good old friend Bo Bell Basketball. If you're looking for an improvement in your basketball game, Bo Bell Basketball is where it is. Bo Bell Basketball, you can find him online at coachbobellbasketball.com, and you can find him in 3 different locations: Bo Bell Midtown, Bo Bell North, and Bo Bell South. You can find them all over the place. Go to Bo Bell Basketball for more information. And you can get your points up and your rebounds up, and also your assists. Where he says footwork is key. Because we had a lot of games this past week.
Yep.
Uh, the Cowboys was the first game up on Sunday, and the New Orleans Saints. Second straight game, they scored 40 points or more. I know it's kind of hard to talk about, but Jerry
Oh
Jones
no,
came
it
out.
ain't her.
Jerry Jones came out today and said that he would rather trade in regular season success to do better in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well, you always try to find a bright spot, even though there weren't many in that game. And so I can't even sit here and say that anything that you're going to learn from this other than that New Orleans may be better than we thought they were. I still don't have any faith in Derek Carr. He's looked great this year, but the people around him are making plays, man, and they really are. And he's not doing anything to hurt them. But as for the Cowboys, man, it was like, I think maybe the ease with which they handled Cleveland after going in. I think didn't they go into Cleveland as an underdog last week
Yeah,
on the road and manhandled them. And I think they heard all the people saying about New Orleans. Well, who did they play against? Because they beat up on Carolina and they weren't looked upon. New Orleans is looked upon as a rebuilding organization right now. With what they had. And I think that you had preconceived notions and you didn't go in there with the right frame of mind and you got your butt handed to you. New Orleans beat them from the time they jumped off the bus. I've used this before. New Orleans had a tougher time getting off the bus than they had with the Cowboys Sunday. They beat their butt all over the field. And I just think that, you know, a lot was made about how Mike Zimmer had, come in and whipped his defense into shape. And you had all these players, and they were just kind of exposed, man. I just don't know. They were exposed. Cowboys were exposed at least Sunday, and we'll see what happens moving forward. But that was a bad look. And now you turn around with Lamar Jackson coming in on Sunday, who has to have a bad taste in his mouth coming in after they're 0-2. So they're looking for a dub.
yeah,
So, man, this is going to be a dog fight. Lamar will probably, I'm pretty sure he's going to use his legs a lot, and do whatever he can to get a W. So Dallas cannot afford to lose two games at home, in back-to-back weeks for sure. But you want to protect your home, so they have to come out with a statement win on Sunday and do something, something big. Because, like I said, Baltimore is going to come in here. They're one of the most physical defenses. We see that constantly year after year. So Dak can get used to the pressure that he's going to face. We don't have a run game in Dallas. So what does that mean? That means you're going to have to put the ball in the air a lot. And when you put the ball in the air a lot, what does that mean, big homie? That you have to try to protect your
yeah,
quarterback. And if I already told you that you're playing one of the most physical teams in the NFL coming in, that means Dak is going to get hit. And we know
yeah,
what happens when Dak gets hit. Dak going to Dak. So it might be a problem. Dak will Dak.
yeah. All right. Speaking of Baltimore, they're 0-2. Are you surprised?
Well, the
The,
first game
the
I
Raiders,
picked,
the Raiders came in there and put the beat down on the Ravens
yeah.
in one of the most
And that's
surprising games of the weekend.
Yeah, and that was the thing. I do think that I felt like they would lose to Kansas City in the first week, and they almost pulled that one out. And what may have happened is that they let that game beat them twice. And sometimes you can do that. I don't know if they took the Raiders lightly or whatever. I don't think they would because the Raiders are one thing about what they have right now is that they play hard and they play hard every week. We saw them beat Kansas City last year, in the game against the Chiefs. So they come out and they play hard. They mismanage the clock. They have a chance that they could have possibly been 2-0, but they punted the ball from in the first game from the plus side of the field with a minute or something left in the game instead of going for it. So that was one of the dumb. I won't say dumb, but what's the head coach name over there? The black uh, head coach they have now. I can't think his name,
For
but he
who?
made a decision for the Raiders.
Aaron
What's his
Pierce.
name? Yeah,
Pierce.
he made
Pierce.
a decision to punt the ball with under. I think it was like a minute or 2 minutes left in the game, and they were on the plus side, the 50 going in to the opposing team's end zone, and he punted the ball, and ended up the other team was able to run the clock out and win the game. I think that was the Chargers. Ran the
Mhm.
clock out, won the game when he Pierce could actually have the Raiders 2-0, but decisions. That's what we talk about. Head coaches. I think we kind of touched on that last week when we were talking about whether Dion was a good coach or not. And
Yeah.
again, to me, a lot of the things with the head coach is you have to make decisions that affect your football team. Sirianni made two bad decisions last night. Not for one thing, not vetoing the pass and allowing that play, but also not kicking the field goals early in the game to get the points on the board. And you end up losing by the margin you did. When if you would have kicked the field goals, game over. So again, when we look at these situations, this head coaching is the guy that tells everybody how we want to play, and you want to play in his vein, but he has to make those crucial decisions. That's what he does. And as we see, it's sometimes those decisions can cost you your job when you don't make the right ones. But yeah, I think Baltimore, like I said, will come in and Dallas is going to have their hands full, man. Lamar's going, we're talking about a two-time MVP of the league, does have some weapons in Zay Flowers. Uh, running game that's going to be there. The one thing we've seen is that I don't think they understood how to use um, what's my man the running back yet because they run more of a zone read type of system, and that's not what Derrick Henry does.
Derrick
Derrick
Henry.
Henry is a downhill runner, and that's not what you have in Baltimore. In
Yeah, he
Baltimore's offense, it's a
he used to play
reading, it's
as
a
he used to
reading.
play, yeah, he
Yeah,
used to play as
he's
that type running back.
Yeah, what he's used to is having a back in front of him or even a one back set, but getting the ball and hitting the hole. And what you doing with him now, you have him hesitating because you want Lamar to put the ball in his stomach and read and react whether to take it out, and depending on what that end is doing over there. So I think that the one way you stop Derrick Henry is you tackle him before he gets started. Because once he gets started, that's when you got a problem, big homie. But if
Hmm.
he's having to react on whether Lamar is going to give him the ball, I think that doesn't play in his hand. And I think a lot of us, even myself included, said, "Oh man, that run game is going to be something awesome now with Derrick Henry." But that hadn't been the case because I don't think it's conducive to what he does as a running back, not that system. So we'll see.
It's more surprised that Baltimore is 0-2, Cincinnati is 0-2, or Pittsburgh is 2-0.
I would say that it's a toss up. Well, I mean, all of it. I don't think that I would have said Baltimore would be on to for sure. Definitely didn't think that Cincinnati would have lost their first game, so I didn't think they would be on to. I thought they would lose in Kansas City last week, so I could see that loss. And then what was the last you said? Who was the
Pittsburgh
last one
being
you said?
2-0.
Pittsburgh being 2-0. When I did was the first game. Well, actually, looking at both of these games, I thought they could beat the Falcons coming in here, and they did that. And then I did say that they would go to Denver and win because I don't. Denver has a rookie quarterback, not a lot of talent around him. Uh, Pittsburgh is one dimensional, but the key to them is they can run the football, play a physical style of defense, and a rookie quarterback against the Steelers defense. I don't think he stands much of a chance. You have to be disciplined. You have to get the ball, and you got to be patient because that defense is opportunistic. They're physical. They turn you over. Uh, they're strong at every level. When you look at the corners, they have big, long ranging corners. They have safeties, probably one of the best safeties in the game in Fitzpatrick. You got a dominant, probably the dominant defensive lineman in TJ Watt. And then you got a big time defensive end on the other side. that plays. Can't think of his name right now. So when you look at Pittsburgh's defense, they might have the best defense in football. If not, it don't take long. Again, as I always say, when you call a roll, it don't take long to get to Pittsburgh's name as far as the defense. They got a
Right.
hellified defense. And as long as you got a good run game, a big time defense, and you play in the NFC in the AFC North, where it's going to be cold and rainy as the season goes on, they're going to be in the thick of things. So yeah, I didn't. I thought they could win both of their first two, and it's still hot right now. You wait till the weather changes.
Okay. Cool. All right, we're gonna go on down and we're gonna talk about the surprising Arizona Cardinals. They're 1-1, and the Rams are 0-2. And Kyler Murray shows his arms off, 3 touchdowns, and Marvin Harrison, who did not even get a target the first game, goes for 130 with 4 receptions and 2 touchdowns. Your thoughts
Yeah,
on that game when you saw that?
they made a concerted effort to get this kid, the ball because they wanted to build confidence in him early, and he produced. He had two great plays to begin the game, both of them touchdowns, I believe, and it was basically over after that. The Rams, well, let's stay on Arizona for the moment. Arizona actually could be 2-0. They had a big lead in Buffalo, the first game of the year. And I think they just kind of relaxed and stopped trying to put the gas down. I thought they tried to coast home. And then Josh Allen, or we call him Jakeem, he caught fire, man, and they haven't looked back since he took over in the second half of that first game. It carried on last week in the game Thursday night against the Dolphins, where they took over. And I really thought that if you're talking about a team that I thought was going to be heading the other way, that was Buffalo. But we're talking about uh, Arizona. I thought Arizona let that game get away. They by right should probably be 2-0. The Rams are really a mash unit right now. They lost both of their top big time receivers in Puka Nakua and Cooper Cup out for probably the next 6 to 8 weeks. So they're going to be, and they're plagued in the offensive line. I think they're down like three to four offensive linemen that they're missing. So that's a little caveat, big homie. Depending on what the spread is, we definitely need to go against the Rams this week. I don't know how many they'll be getting, but they're going to be playing Tyler Johnson, the journeyman wide receiver. They'll be playing Demarcus Robinson, journeyman wide receiver, and who I believe will be the other wide receiver. So those will be your three starting wide receivers. They'll probably lean heavy on the run game because they don't have much of anything else. Matthew Stafford will earn his money for the next 6 to 8 weeks because he's going to have to lead a team that has no offensive line. Defense is struggling. Have a good running back, but if you don't have an offensive line, you can't run the ball. And he doesn't have a top line wide receiver on his starting unit. So, I mean, on the team, let's not say on the starting unit, but none of his wide receivers that are going to play Sunday has ever been more than a special teams player or a third wide receiver on the NFL roster. I don't have to say no more. They're in trouble.
Uh, Houston and the Bears. What did you like CJ in that game? The CJ versus
Uh,
Caleb. CJ versus
I-
Caleb. The young
yeah,
boy versus the sophomore.
I think what we're seeing, and Collinsworth was just raving and glowing about CJ, but CJ has not been special this year in either of the first two games. And I think that a lot has been put on him. And this is things that I was trying to tell Jalen from the start. Yeah, last year he was great, and he still is good. Don't get me wrong, but he's a young quarterback. And what these NFL defense coordinators do in the whole offseason is go and break down your game film from the start. And they try to find out what you're not good at and how they're going to force you. They're going to take what you're good at away. And as you can see, a lot of what they were doing was quick stuff to Tank Dell. Now they still have a beast out there in Nico, Collins, who is just bald. But a lot of what they were getting out of Tank Dell has not materialized, and that's hurting me because he's on my fantasy. And even with the addition of um, I can't think of the kid, Stephon
Jimmy.
Diggs out of the
Oh,
Stephon Diggs.
okay.
Even
Okay.
with the addition of Stephon Diggs, the passing game is kind of disjointed. They're not as free flowing and not as effective as they were last year. And I think part of the reason is I think they're going to try to force some things to Diggs to keep him from acting out or being stupid because he can go stupid on the sideline. And the other thing is they did get a good big time running back in Mixon. I think Mixon first week was awesome. It was great for him. This week not so much, but I think that, like I said, DC started to take things away. So we'll see what happens as they go forward. I still think they're one of the best teams in the NFL moving forward, but I think that a lot of it has been kind of overblown, like they were just going to be a runaway favorite, to unseat Kansas City and all this kind of stuff. I'm not sure I'm there yet on them, but they're improving, but I don't think they're to the level that everybody's seeing, like an elite football team. I didn't see that last what was that Thursday night when they played? Was that Thursday night? When what night was that day? Sunday night. They
Sunday night.
didn't look elite. Yeah, they did not look elite to me. And as for the Bears, a lot was made about the next Patrick Mahomes. But the one thing that Patrick Mahomes was able to do was sit a year and learn from a veteran quarterback. And what they asked of Caleb Williams to do is kind of, take the reins and you're going to lead this team. And they may have been more well suited to bring in a veteran quarterback to kind of shield him from himself, really, and kind of protect him. Because I think that the frustrations that you're seeing out of the wide receivers, out of the guy we talked about earlier. Man, I'm bad with names right now, big homie. But the wide receiver they got from Carolina, we talked about earlier.
DJ Moore.
DJ Moore. His body language spoke volumes as to he's not ready. The way he was saying, you could see him saying that Caleb Williams isn't ready, and you can't keep wasting all the talent that we have on this squad. We're ready to win now, and you got a kid in here who doesn't really know where to go with the football and doesn't play on schedule. See, this has been my point. The same thing that was with Baker. Baker's playing more on schedule now, but you think about the way Baker Mayfield played, the way that Caleb Williams plays or had played and been successful. It's like keeping plays alive. Even Kyler Murray, they keep plays alive by scrambling, moving around, and making all platform throws, making big plays. But the NFL, you can't really live like that. Patrick Mahomes kind of lives that way, but I think it's a little overblown because they have a more of a design chaos in their system kind of built in to where it's a little chaotic, but it's still a planned chaos. But when you see the three quarterbacks that I talked about, you watch them in college, they just ran around and made plays. And that's not conducive to winning in the NFL. Everything is a timing game in the NFL. You go back and you hit that back foot, and you got to go to that that guy, or you go to your next level, you check it down. Well, the thing with Caleb Williams and people like that is they want to make a big play on every play. So he's scrambling around, moving, not getting the ball out. And Collinsworth was just all of a sudden, oh, look how he got the ball out. But as soon as it was time and something happened, he reverted back to being himself. So, like I said, I think that all the Patrick Mahomes comparison were a little overstated and rushed. And it's sad. I'm not gonna say it's sad, but even Brady said something in the last week. I don't know if you heard it, saying that these quarterbacks are not being taught the game of football. They're just kind of like thrown out here and not being developed. And I think he says it's actually hurting the game. And you can see, like on certain quarterbacks, I think it is. I think that one of the best things that happened to Mahomes was that he sat again. Sat behind. I can't think of his name. Here again, I can't think of the guy's name. But but he sat a year in Kansas City before they put him out there.
Alex Smith.
Alex Smith, that's who it was, Alex Smith. So that's one thing. Now you have your exceptions. Look, CJ had a hell of a year last year, but early in the year it wasn't as good as it got. Like he kind of developed and he had some nice pieces around. And I think that a lot of times when nothing is expected from you, he wasn't the number one pick in the draft, even though he was a high pick. All the limelight was on Carolina, and what was going on there with the number one pick. So CJ had that comfort of not having that limelight or that spotlight put on him until he really started to ascend. So again, I think the quarterbacks they need time to develop, and if you don't put the right stuff around them and put too much on their plate, it can go south. So I don't know. I'm really a little skeptical to see how this is going to continue with him. He's not looking. He doesn't look like he's ready for it right now to me. And Caleb Williams. So again, like I said, he's got to learn how to go through these progressions, get that ball out because he
Yeah.
can't keep holding it, and he can't keep. I'm telling you that the wide receiver it's an issue right now. Did you see any other game the other night?
No, I didn't.
Oh man, if you get a chance, go back and watch. Just put in the wide receiver's name and look. And a couple times when the pass was off the mark, he just laid on the ground, took his head off, helmet off, and he was just his body language was horrible, man. And that's not good for a young quarterback. You gotta encourage him, but I didn't
Yeah.
see it. DJ was looking. He looked like a malcontent out there, but
Yeah.
it's because it's frustration. And
Yeah.
if you honestly you think about it, if you go back, he didn't want him to get rid of Justin Fields. He said that he wanted Justin Fields to stay there. And now you bring in a rookie who's got to learn everything, and you're like everything that we were building, and we had at least some chemistry. Now you're going against it. So DJ Moore right now, man, you just watch. Let's keep an eye on that. Keep
Well,
an eye on that for real.
how's Keenan Allen responding? He a big time
Well,
receiver as well.
right, right. Well, Keenan wasn't there last year, and then he was hurt in game two, so he was on the sideline, and he was trying to be encouraging, but he's not out there running a route and open and not getting the football. You understand what I'm saying? It's like he's on the sideline still trying to be that coach and that mentor, trying to coach him up. But DJ Moore out there, like, man, we don't have time for that. This organization, I've been here and we're not winning. And we should have stayed with this other quarterback. You can see his body is saying that right now. His body language is saying that right now, very loudly.
Mm. All right, who impressed? Who didn't impress this week?
The New Orleans Saints impressed, man. I got them written down as the one of the most impressive teams coming off of last Sunday. Anytime you go into Dallas where I don't think they lost maybe one or two games at home in the last 3 or 4 years. And they were the only other game regular season game. They got shelled in the playoff game, but home is where Jerry World, they've been protective of Jerry World and for the last 3 or 4 years, their home record has been awesome. And for New Orleans to go in there and put up the points they did, and like he only passed for like 243 yards, Derek Carr, but he was 11 out of 16 with 2 touchdowns. And the running game they had, he had two receivers over 80 yards, and Kamari had 65 out of the backfield, and Kamari had 115 yards rushing. So I mean, you look at what they did; they just really they manhandled the Cowboys, and Dak ended up with 293. But we talk about that all the time. Those are empty yards. When you look at his stats of 27 for 39, yeah, those are great. These numbers, they're gonna always look good. He looks like he's doing a great job, but you're not putting up any points, and you're not in games like this where your defense is unable to stop the other team. Your offense has to go out and say, "Okay, this is on us. We're gonna keep us in the game," and you have to match that offense. And he's not able to do that. And this has been my point about why you don't pay a Dak Prescott is because in games like this, Harris, you need somebody to shoulder it. to say, all right, guys, I got it. I'm gonna make plays. We're gonna keep up with them. And defense, yeah, you might not stop them now, but you just come up with a time to stop. And I'm gonna get you cross. But he can't do that. Dak can't put a team on his back. Dak needs a good defense. He needs quality players around him, and he needs that in order to be successful. And now you paid him like he's a Patrick Mahomes. And that's there lies the issue right there. And this is a perfect example of what I'm talking about. Yeah, the stats look good, but you only scored 19 points. And on days when your team, your defense can't control the other line of scrimmage, the other team's line of scrimmage, you need me to be Superman. But just like Dak said, him growing up, all the telephone booths were gone. Ain't that what Superman changed? They don't have no telephone booths no more. Everybody got cell phone. So ain't no way for him to change as Superman.
I agree with that. Hey, so I had this thought, and I'm gonna tell you how I'm going back to the Falcons, how the Falcons has blown this again. I want you to follow me on this.
I'm with
Who's
you.
who's the offensive coordinator for New Orleans this year?
Or is it hot dog? I heard
Don't,
his
don't,
name called the
don't
other
even
day.
worry about it. I tell you, Clint Kubiak,
Clint Kubiak. Kubiak's son, right? Yeah.
the
Yep.
son of Gary Kubiak.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a time when the Falcons were looking for an offensive coordinator or a coach, and Gary Kubiak's name came up, and they did not pull the trigger. Gary Kubiak is from that tree that Shanahan, Mike LaFleur, Mike
Slowick. Yeah,
Lowick,
all of them.
all them the same offense. So what they're doing in New Orleans is running the offense that has been beaten, that the Falcons has been beating them with for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
So you think if Gary Kubiak would have been a Falcon, don't you think Clint would have been here as well?
Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So again, the Falcons has blown it again.
Let me ask you one thing that I saw. In the Manning cast, they had Belichick sitting there, and he had some comments about the Falcons that were, let's just say, less than favorable or flattering. They were pretty bad.
Okay.
He just came out and said that the Falcons, and a lot of this might be sour grapes because they didn't hire him. But he was. I want you to go back when you get a chance. Go back to YouTube and pull that up, and how he talked about the tampering and how they lost a draft pick because of it, and how they cheated and how they signed players. I mean, I've never heard anybody come out and just dog an organization the way he did. I mean, it was you could actually see the uncomfortable looks that Peyton and Eli had. I want you to look at it, big homie. If you didn't hear about it, you didn't see it. Just Google that or go to YouTube and put in Belichick's comments on the Falcons, and you listen to the vitriol and the negative spit that he talked about the Falcons. I mean, it was borderline hate, man.
Really?
Yeah, I want you to check it out. You let me know what you think. Maybe I'm not even gonna say I'm overreacting. It was bad. It was for him to say the things he said about the Falcons organization. It was like he called them cheaters. And this coming from a guy who had the flake gate and all kind of stuff, recording practices and doing all that. But get it when you get a chance, check that out and let me know what you think. It was bad. It was on the Manicast when they were during the game, and he talked about how they signed uh, the Mooney dude,
Mm-hmm.
and he talked kind of bad about him, about how he didn't somebody's route running away. I mean, he was man. He was. he was against the Falcons with the way he was speaking. Seriously, it was bad.
Going down
And
like
let me
that.
know. Yeah, I've never heard a coach do the things. Well, I take that back because last year, uh, Sean Payton did some things like that too. Remember how he went? I don't know what organization, but he had some derogatory things to say about an organization also. So I won't say it's unheard of. We haven't seen it, but it's rare that it happens that way. These two, they didn't hold any punches. I think Peyton did that on the he went against the Jets, talking about how bad the Jets coaching staff was before they hired Salah, whoever they had in there. But remember when they hired the guy from Denver, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, but he talked bad about them.
All right, big homie. That's gonna do it for our roundtable discussion, and we finna jump into this brand new segment called 3 Point Shot. I'm gonna ask you 3 questions. It's gonna be sports related, and we'll see if we can get our tenants to come in and comment about this. This is mostly for the tenants, not necessarily for us, but mostly for the tenants. 3 questions. And it's called a 3 point shot. So I got 3 questions, and you tell me how you feeling. First question is this: which is a better feeling, a hole in one, a 300 game in bowling, a no hitter, or a game winning 3 point shot in the championship game? Oh boy, Hancock went out on me. I see. All right, if you're out there on the chat line, let me know what you feeling like. The best feeling: hole in one, 300 game in bowling, a no hitter, game winning 3 point shot in the championship game. What we got? Waiting on my big homie to get back at me. I think his internet went out or something. But for me, I'm gonna go with the 300 game in bowling. I think that's a feeling that I'm looking forward to for sure. All right, number 2. If you had a choice, we going with if you can slap any media person right now today with no consequences, who would it be? Any sports media person right now, if you can slap them. Okay, we going. Oh, we got somebody going. 3 point shot, huh? Okay. Marky going with the you say you did a step back market. Okay, there you go, step back. All right, but we on to question number 2. I see 3 point shot. Aisha, she jumping on the 3 point winning shot. Okay, cool. All right, any sports media person that you could slap with no consequences, who would it be? Got to be sports media. Who would it be? Your sports media person that you had a chance to slap. Who would it be? Say, Mark, you doing a step back to win the championship game. Okay, you can do a step back 3. All right, everybody know how I dislike Stephen A. Smith, so it'll definitely have to be Stephen A. for the slap, for sure. All right, Stephen A. Smith would be the person that I would definitely stand in line to slap for sure. Jason Whitlock will probably be he gonna be honorable mention because he moving up the board. That's about all I got for them two. Okay, Marcus. So the hole in one will be your next one, huh? Yeah, go Hancock. I'm pretty sure the hole in one would be great for him. I'm pretty sure he would choose hole in one. I think he told me he did it one time and one time only. So, yep, I think that would be it for that. All right, my last one would be if Atlanta had an Atlanta sports show, and these three guys had a booth: Chipper Jones, Dominique Wilkins, and Deion Sanders. Who would have the booth with the biggest crowd? Deion, Chipper, or Dominique Wilkins? Which booth would be the crowdedest? Yes. That would definitely work. I think Deion, because of his popularity and his affiliation with Atlanta, will still have the crowded booth. Chipper Jones probably come in second, and I think Neek, unfortunately, will come in third. Just my opinion, my thing, and trying to see if Big Homie go jump back in here with me to see what his thoughts are, but I think his internet is out, so oh yeah, I'm pretty sure Deion would be the one. Yeah, I agree. Deion would probably have everybody joined up and moved up for sure. Yeah, look like that's gonna wind it down. Those are my 3-point questions, and that's gonna wrap up the show for tonight. I wish Big Homer was back on here with me. I think his internet went out, but I'm gonna give a shout out. Let me start my music up, and we can go from there. Yeah. There we go. All right, I'm gonna shout out everybody who tuned in tonight. Shout out Big Homie for coming through again and making this thing do what it do. Shout out to everybody in New Orleans who has survived the horrible hurricane that went through there last week. We got breast cancer month of October coming up. Be on the lookout. We will have some breast cancer survivors on the show to talk about their experiences and the things you need to do to deal with or to prevent that horrible disease, cancer, breast cancer that is. So make sure you stay tuned for that. We got a big month of October coming up with breast cancer awareness. So we will be talking about that and doing that as well. For my big homie Hancock, for all the people in the SRT land, we appreciate you tuning in. I'm your main man, H.O. from Bankhead. R.I.P. Moms and Pops. R.I.P. BC. And we're going to holler at y'all next week. Thanks for tuning in. And we out. Peace.